that, boys?
Shum shum.
Shum shum.
That's our new intro. Shum shum.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we used to do, the and now it's
No,
just we only
let's
need
never
one.
do that.
We only need one audio cue to get us set up and ready to go, and that's
just
shum
shum
shum.
And it's shum shum,
Yeah, it's
That's it.
Shum shum.
It's like
which is
Zoom
a
Zoom.
well-known audio cue.
Well,
Yeah.
He's
It's-
adding sound effects to the stinger that already has sound effects associated with it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's like Zoom Zoom, but not copyrighted. We can say it.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the forecast. This is episode 145, titled "Dying Island 2." The forecast is a bi-weekly podcast streamed on Thursdays and released on YouTube on Saturdays now, and podcast on sometime between those two. We'll get it figured out someday. I mean, this is only on our 145th episode. It'll be
Work
fine.
in progress.
Work in progress.
Yeah.
We are a community of people who love exploring and discussing all kinds of things, from video games to board games, film and TV, to our everyday life experiences. If you'd like to know more about what we do, you can follow us at facebook.com/TheHorizonFB, or you can come hang out on our Discord channel, or you can check out our website at rearofthehorizon.com. We have a ton of original content for you to browse through there. Additionally, everything we talk about is in our cast notes, which is pushed out to whatever podcasting app you are using. I am Aaron, joined by a couple of additional peeps. Caleb.
That's me.
Chad.
I'll snap.
Mixing up. Alex.
Yo, but in his house, in the hizzy.
How does
Word.
Mike? How does
I
Mike?
think we need
Please
to restart
stop.
the podcast.
Please stop.
Jake.
Oh, hello. It's me.
And Owen.
Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals.
Alrighty, let's stop off the top, right off the top with
Wait,
the
I got a
segment
question
from.
first.
Oh my gosh.
We got a segment.
If you just name the episode before it happens, what if we have like a really good joke that would be a good title for the episode?
Cut.
Well, I don't know,
cut it.
because I
You just
like
name the
kind of
next
naming
one
it,
that,
you know?
or
I mean, sure. Yeah, sure. I'm just
Every
like, hold
podcast
the
is
joke.
named after a cool thing from the previous podcast.
Oh, that's kind of
Ooh,
weird.
That'd be
that's very
confusing.
weird. Yeah.
I'm glad we've derailed this, Caleb.
I'm
But
just wondering.
anyways,
It seems weird to name it early.
fine, I'll stop naming it. This episode 145, which is yet to be named, we're jumping right in. Off the top, Jake, we got a segment.
Yes, I have a segment. You guys remember that really, really cool Razer COVID mask?
Oh,
yeah.
God, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So this news it's like a month old, so I'm a little bit behind. But we've been busy. It turns out it doesn't keep you from getting COVID. So they advertised that it would have N95 grade filters, and it doesn't.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Some YouTuber basically did a teardown of it and was like, hey, that's not true. Like, you lied. And so they quickly took down everything that claimed it was, and they were like, whoops. Sorry.
Oopsie
What do you
daisy.
mean, whoops.
Oh
Like,
my
our
gosh.
shitty Bane mask doesn't have that thing we told everyone it had.
How do you miss that? Or is it something where it's like, we made this post as a joke, but like somebody thought it was real internally, and so they went through the process of getting masks produced and then listed, and then people actually bought them, and it spiraled out of control, guys.
I mean, honestly, it could be.
That's crazy.
I don't know what the point of this ugly, shitty mask would be otherwise.
RGB.
Like,
I
it
mean,
looks so
that is
bad,
the
I can't
answer.
imagine any other reason to... I mean, even if it did 100% protect you from COVID, not worth it,
No.
honestly.
I mean, that's
Because-
scary. That's like lawsuit realm.
It goes
Yeah.
with like your
For sure.
cyberpunk cosplay
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
that you wear to PAX.
Yeah, when I
Yeah,
go
you're
to
forced to
my
wear a mask at
raves.
PAX, so you can wear this.
Yeah.
Mm. Could be. I don't know.
Or you just wear it ironically. Like it's,
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
a joke the whole time.
And
I
then
kinda
you
like
get
that.
COVID, and it's like doubly funny.
It's like, see? There it goes.
See, they suck.
You wear N95 underneath it.
Mm.
All right, let's move. What were you gonna say? What?
So it's
what?
got the two like filters on it. You just wear a mask over each side of it.
Ooh,
Yes.
that
Yeah,
has
so
a
you
lot of
wear an
stuff.
actual mask over where the filter is supposed to be.
That
You
makes
like
sense.
that.
tie the two strands together in the center and then put them around your ears on the other side?
Yes, exactly. It's
Mm.
perfect. Honestly, perfect.
Looks like you're wearing a bra on your face.
Yeah.
The height of fashion. Honestly, it wouldn't even look that much dumber than the regular thing.
True.
That's the sad part.
Let's move on to what have you been playing lately? And Alex, you're gonna be off the top this week. What have you been playing?
Sure. I've been playing this indie platformer called Splasher. It's a bit older. But I think it's pretty fun. It's got a gimmick where like you can splash substances around.
Substances. Okay, kinky.
So like
Okay.
it's got platforming, like so you're jumping through, you're dodging enemies and spinning blades and stuff, but also like there'll be sticky substance on the wall.
Ooh.
And you can like run up the wall, and then later you get the power to spray the sticky substance, so then you can create surfaces for you to stick to.
Puberty?
Why are you so bad at describing things? What is happening?
Alex, why are you like this?
It's
I'm on
like
the
red
page.
fluid
It
is
just
sticky.
calls it paint. Why
Okay,
you gotta
well,
call it sticky juice? Like, what's wrong?
Yeah, why do you have to describe it as
They-
sticky substances that you spray on walls? Like,
they don't make it clear that it is paint. Also, it comes off very easily with water, so I don't
water
like
soluble
paint.
paint.
I don't know, man. Anyway, the gimmick is like you gotta spray the right stuff places to get through the level, and also like clean the right surfaces to make it through.
Are you like New
And
Kids
there's,
on the
like-
Block?
There's like bouncy paint and there's sticky paint and stuff like that. It's pretty fun.
So it's like Portal 2.
Yeah, it's
Basically.
got like some of that stuff, but it's a 2D platformer.
Except no portals. Got it. Portal 2 minus the fun. Got it.
Got him.
Oh, it's still fun.
Still fun. Still fun, guys.
That's rude.
I don't know why we gotta tear me down when I'm just enjoying a video game over here.
Hey, try
Welcome
talking
to
about,
Owen's life.
Fallout 76 for a little bit, and you'll know exactly how the fuck I feel.
I've also been playing like a bunch of Dark Souls 3 for some reason.
Yeah, not streaming it. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. We told our audience it'd be a full playthrough. Like 2
Now-
years ago.
I mean,
Now it's
I
just gonna be a
walked
quarter
in-
playthrough.
I walked in at one point and saw him playing some of it. I don't know that we would want to put that on the stream.
Ooh.
Does he
Yeah,
just
fun.
like scream
Sticky
at the?
substance.
Caleb like forced me to stream it by watching my broadcast through Steam
Indeed.
Mhm.
for like a long time the other day.
That's the way to grow viewership right there.
Yeah.
Yes, so if you want to see me play Dark Souls 3, friend me on Steam and request access to my broadcast.
I won't.
How's it going?
Been having a good time with it, more than I can say any other time that I've played it in the past. I can now look at myself as a Dark Souls player years ago and be like, wow, why were you even struggling with that stuff? That stuff was dumb. Like, those are the fodder enemies that you're supposed to just like chew through, no problem.
Are you saying that you got good?
I'm
That's what
not
it
gonna
sounds
say I
like.
got good.
I mean,
Actually,
it sounds like you got good, man. Like you took
I-
the time and
I
you
can
got good.
confirm that I'm pro gamer because I beat a boss on the first attempt,
Ooh.
Gasp.
and
How,
Caleb was witness.
Which what boss?
Vort, like the
Yeah.
I think he's
Oh,
the main
Vort.
first, like one of the first
First, like,
bosses.
Yeah, I think the first. Okay, not literally the first, but whatever.
Not literally the
Yeah.
first, but pretty early.
First, like,
Um,
proper boss, kind of. So how far are you?
I just got through like the second area. I'm at Road of Sacrifices. I just got to the
Okay.
Road of Sacrifices.
Nice. Okay, so I feel like that's around where you stopped playing the first time,
I was still.
or the last time you streamed it. At
I
least.
just picked up the same save file, so I
Did
was
you?
still
Wow,
back
okay.
in like the High Wall of Lothric back
I
then.
see. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it's been pretty fun. I'm still doing like a shield build. Today I switched out and I've been doing two-handed on. I got a hold of Vort's Great Hammer
Mm.
by like
Nice.
transmuting it with the kiln after you
Mhm,
killed a big
mhm.
ugly tree.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Nice.
The tree that has like balls that you have to go hit,
the tree
If
balls.
it's
Yes.
Tree balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I love hitting tree balls.
literally in between his legs, like
Mhm.
could not
No,
be
the
any
tree
clearer
has a
what they're
ball sack.
evoking.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Seems
so
multiple.
it's been pretty fun so far.
What's everybody's like go-to build in that game usually?
Finesse.
Say
Is it called
finesse.
finesse in that? Or is it called skill?
Dexterity.
Dexterity. Is it called dexterity?
Dex.
I
Gosh.
think it's
Yeah.
just Dex. Yeah, come on, you clown.
Okay,
Sorry.
freaking
I'm doing
Caleb.
strength.
They're
pretty
called.
much right now.
It's called skill in Bloodborne, right? Is it finesse and something? Am I
Probably.
crazy?
I think it's skill in
So
Bloodborne.
crazy.
There is finesse somewhere. Finesse is, I know for a fact, Divinity Original Sin 2.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know
That-
why
yeah.
you'd
Who
be pulling
knows?
that
That
out.
could be what I'm thinking of for some
It's
reason.
possible.
Jake, what do you build?
Oh, I always strength two-handed weapons.
Hmm.
No, no
Really?
doubt, no
Okay.
doubt. Absolutely.
What are you going
That's
for,
kind
Alex?
of the direction I'm headed now. I've been for the longest time I was using longsword shield, and then I got a claymore, and I liked that a bunch. And I was using it one-handed with a shield. And then now that I have the great hammer with the frost stuff, that seems quite strong. And I'm trying to figure out how to play without a shield. It's not going great.
I usually
But I'm
play that
getting there.
game shirtless, strength all the way
Oh.
up, and
Oh my
then
gosh.
two-handed weapon, but also with like the biggest shield possible.
Mm, nice.
So I don't
Yeah. Is
fat
there-
roll, but like I have a lot of protection.
Yeah.
Is there like a second level of rolling? Because I know if you stay below 70%, you have like the decent roll. Is there a better one than that?
It's a fast roll.
There's a fast
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
Okay.
it's one though where so it was different in older Dark Souls games. That's kind of a tangent, but in DS3, as long as you're not fat rolling, you have the same number of iframes.
Huh.
It's just about how far you roll, I believe, between
Yeah, I think
fast
so.
roll
Think
and
so, yeah.
mid roll. So it's like in that one, you're pretty heavily incentivized to stay mid. As long as you're not fat rolling, it's pretty good.
No, you gotta
I
go
don't-
that shirtless Dex S stock, and you just like stun
Poke
lock them.
everybody.
You just like poise break them every hit. I can never touch you.
I've been reading a lot of wikis about all the different types of stats and stuff, and it's just overwhelming at some point.
It's a lot.
I read,
yeah, it's a
I read
lot.
a huge page about poise today, and I didn't comprehend most of it.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
fair.
like different things that mean different types of poise, and there's like active poise, and I'm like, I'm just gonna hit people with a big hammer. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter for PvE stuff.
No.
And just get a big club and hit them with it, and then I'll probably stun them. It's fine.
I will say I'm constantly at like 69.8% like
Yeah.
encumbered.
That's how you do it.
And I keep on having to like downgrade pieces of my armor a little bit to like stay just under that. So
Yeah.
now my
The
legs
struggle.
are like completely open, but I still have a nice chest piece.
The struggle. It's real. It's real, boys.
We're just
Ah.
gonna let slide. His legs are always open. He has a nice chest piece.
Yep.
No
Well,
one wanted to
he's-
comment on
He's
it. That's
talked
fine.
about
That's
enough
okay.
weird stuff during his
Yeah.
segment. I thought we'd skip
Just-
over the most
It's been
recent
a
one.
weirdly sexual segment.
You
I don't
doing
know
okay,
what
Alex?
this energy
Tree
is.
balls, weird goop on the walls.
Pretty much, I just kind of wanted to do something to prep for Elden Ring, so
Mm,
that's what I've been doing.
nice.
Nice. Owen, on to you. What have you been playing lately?
Okay, so been playing some Back for Blood with the boys. We're doing really well on our Nightmare run. Be sure to watch that on the weekends when we stream it.
What does really
Sometimes.
well on your nightmare run mean?
We're
Equate to because
through Act 1.
Yeah,
We're
we finished Act one.
we're working on Act 2.
Oh.
I would say that every time we do it, we have some level of progress. Sometimes not a lot of progress, but still progress. And they updated that when you fail runs, you get points now. So even when we fail, we're still winning because we're having a good time together.
Same.
Oh.
I don't know that I
Um,
like that. You get points still when you fail?
Yeah, they
Presumably
didn't
it's
used to
not
have
much, but I didn't see how.
I imagine it's not a big number.
that. Yeah. So that's kind of nice. So we've been doing a little bit of that. Also been doing a Planet Zoo challenge here on this channel. So that's been a lot of fun. It's a challenge that I made up for Planet Zoo. That a couple people have been popping in on. It's a non-profit run. So basically, I have no cost to enter into the zoo because it's a free zoo, and that all of the animals that I can't sell any of my animals for money. I have to release them into the wild because the idea is you're running a nonprofit here. So your idea should be to rehabilitate the animals and to educate all your guests. So I need to have a 5-star rating on my guest education, which I'm working on, and I'm not there yet. I can't charge like any money for anything really. So the only way that I should be taking in money is through the donation bins in the game, and also by completing challenges, because I'm viewing that if you complete a challenge, it's like you won a grant. So that is like the government giving you money to continue running your nonprofit. So yeah, I made up this challenge as like a new way to play the game and to give me some parameters to kind of try to build a zoo in. And it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely been a lot more creative. There are still some kinks in the challenge that I'm like working out and trying to figure out. But a couple people have been like kind of stopping by from the Planet Zoo community and just be like, oh, hey, we didn't know like there was like challenges that people made up for this, and this is kind of cool. So that's been a nice thing. And at some point, once I actually have it like a little more nailed down, I'll probably write everything up somewhere and we'll post it, so that way it should be like, if you would like to do this, here, read all of these things.
Sick.
What a challenge people would do.
Yeah, it gives it a nice breath of air, because even when you're playing the quote-unquote challenge mode in that game, at some point you just have so much money that it means nothing to you. And that's the problem that I've had, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, it really sucks once you get like this large zoo, because all I do is just like wait 2 seconds, and then I've just got like $1 million, and I can go build anything to my heart's content, which is nice and it's creative, but like it's not challenging. So this was supposed to do some of that. And of course, the big thing that I've been playing for the past 2 weeks is this Pokemon Legends Arceus game that came out on the Switch. Playing it on the Switch.
Never heard of it.
Unlike, some people, Alex.
I have not touched a second of that game, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's...
Are you calling out people who play it on the emulator?
Yeah, because we talked about it on the last podcast.
I don't think Alex downloaded it on the emulator.
I don't think he did either, but he did bring it up. It's a Pokemon game. It's fun. It is not something that is groundbreakingly different that, oh my god, everyone needs to go play it even if you're not a Pokemon fan. But if you liked playing the other Pokemon games, I would be like, yeah, you should probably pick this up because it is different. They did do something different with it, which for those that don't know, you're kind of in this open world exploration, and you're like throwing Pokeballs at wild Pokemon that are appearing out in the wild. You're not like running through tall grass to like find the Pokemon or whatever, and then they battle you and you weaken them like you normally do in the traditional games. This is like, oh hey, there's one here. Throw a Pokeball at it, walk away. There is no battle that you do. You can battle them. There are some Pokemon that are like aggressive, and once they see you, they'll try to fight you. So your options are you have to either be real fucking sneaky, hiding in the tall grass, and like lure them over to the tall grass so they're in range and then hit them with the Pokeball, or you would have to battle them, and the battle system is a lot quicker because the emphasis of this game isn't on the battling part of it. The emphasis is supposed to be on this kind of like explore, gather resources. You use the resources to make items and potions and balls, and then you use them on the Pokemon. And people give you quests that they're like, oh hey, I've never seen a Ghastly before. Can you catch me a Ghastly? And then you go catch a Ghastly and you go back to them and you bring it back to be like, this is what a Ghastly is. So I think that's really neat, and I think that's like a neat concept for them to play with, and I'm really glad that they have that. I think the one thing that I don't like about the game, I feel like they're drawing this part from like Pokemon Go, is that you have tasks for every Pokemon. So when you find a Pokemon, your research level is at 0 with them. And so you have to do a bunch of these different tasks to get to a research level of 10. And it's just really kind of monotonous things of being like, feed the cherub 5 times, or catch 10 drowsy, or like things like that. And I'm just kind of like, this feels like Pokemon Go, which is fun in Pokemon Go, but when I'm sitting down, this is really lame when I'm just like sitting in the tall grass trying to catch like 15 of the same Pokemon over and over again. Like, I'm not enjoying that aspect of it.
Is it just filler? Like, what mechanically is the point of...
So the point of doing that, from my knowledge, is that the higher your research level goes up, you get stars, and then once you get to level 10, I think that you unlock a bunch of stuff. So I think there's like a goal there. The other thing that is that there's also the increased chance of shinies. So once you get to level 10 on that Pokemon, you've got an increased chance of seeing a shiny version of it. And then once you do something else in the game that I haven't gotten to yet, it cuts it down even more. And then you basically go to these things that are called mass outbreaks that like happen randomly throughout the map. And so when one of those happens, you just like run over to this area of the map and there's just like 50 chances. And you just start chucking Pokeballs to your heart's desire and hope that a shiny one pops up. Which is, I mean, I like the mass outbreaks. I think that's really interesting. Just because, like I said, you know, when you're doing the ones that are like, oh, hey, I have to catch 10 of these fuckers. Ugh, this is a pain. It's very nice to have a mass outbreak to tell you, like, oh, hey, you know, here's a bunch of them. Go over there and you can catch 10 of them within like 2 seconds. So that's kind of nice. There's also another mechanic that they built in, which are these like warp areas. And so basically you like walk into them and then a bunch of really strong or rare Pokemon show up there. So you just, again, it's like a mass outbreak, but a lot more aggressive. A lot of those Pokemon are more trying to fight you than the mass outbreak ones that just kind of pop up and they're just like, hey, there's like 30 of us. And you're like, cool, thanks.
Are there still, like, gyms to battle, or is that, like, not even in there?
So there is like a kind of Team Rocket group to fight. There are people that will do kind of trainer battles with you, but it's rare. I think that I've only done like 10 of them so far in my run through of it. There's not a lot of trainers to fight.
Sorry, continue.
I was gonna say there is like a section in town that you can go to like fight trainers. Like if you wanted to just like sit there and just like use your Pokemon's moves, because that's like another one of the research tasks is like, oh, you know, use this specific move 10 times or use it in agile style or strong style, which is like a battle mechanic they added, which I really like that. Basically either makes the move faster and weaker or slower and stronger, which then affects your turn order and then like how many times you get to do it. A+ on that. That was really well done. But yeah, there's not a lot of battling unless you choose to battle. And then there's also, in the world of things, there are these things called alpha Pokemon, and alpha Pokemon are basically just very strong, very high level versions of the Pokemon that you normally see, and they're always pissed off and angry and trying to fight you every chance that you get. So that's where a lot of my battling at least has come in, of just kind of like turning a corner and then there's like an alpha Rapidash and I'm just like, oh fuck, it's big and it's pissed, and so I either have to run or fight it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting, and for people that are fans of the franchise, I would be like, yo, pick this up. It's very different. It's not like the other games that you've played, and so I would recommend it to that, but it's not like such a good thing that I would recommend to other people that haven't played Pokemon games to be like, oh yeah, no, this is what's going to get you into Pokemon. I was like, if you're not into Pokemon yet, I don't think this is going to do it for you. I don't think this is going to be the thing that brings new people in or convinces people that, you know, it's really good. I think this is just kind of like a very unique and interesting play realm of like they tried out a bunch of different shit to see what worked, and I feel like most of it did. There's even kind of a Souls-like quality in that instead of gyms, you have these kind of bosses that you personally have to battle. And so basically you have these tiny little things that are called Balms, BALMS, not like
Just like
explosives.
you put on your lips, like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, exactly. And
like
so,
literally.
Yeah.
it's like
Well, because you're not blowing up the Pokemon, you're calming it.
exactly.
It is
How
a
do you just-
balm for the Pokemon.
You get your little chapstick and you like you put
And
some
so-
balm on it.
You just rub chapstick on the Pokemon,
Yeah.
for sure.
So basically, the Pokemon is
Alright.
upset, and you got to throw your chapstick at said Pokemon. And there's like dodging mechanics that you have to do, and you got to roll around while you know, like wait for an opening to throw the chapstick. So there is kind of like a Souls-like quality to it, which is, I mean, again, interesting mechanic for a Pokemon game. Not a lot of that there, so I was like, okay,
Right.
this is kind of neat.
Right. Cool.
So I played this as well, and I personally haven't been into a Pokemon game since like Leaf Green and Fire Red. I don't know what generation that is, like how far away, like that, like what year that came out.
Yeah, you're a little
Um,
back.
I've picked up over the years Pokemon here and there, and like tried to play it, and I have never really enjoyed Pokemon anymore. And then this game came out, and this is where I think that kind of wrong on the whole. If you're not into Pokemon, you're not gonna like this. Because I actually find this very enjoyable. Because I mean, if you want the gym battles and you want the trainer battles and all that, then like this isn't a game for you. But if you just want like laid back exploration with like discovery, like that's what this game is. You're just kind of getting off of the competitive games for the night, Overwatch, Fortnite, Halo, whatever you're playing, and then you're just going and playing your Switch for a bit and finding the Pikachus or Snorlaxes, catching them or fighting them and then catching them, or there are those like Dark Souls moments. I honestly, if you guys want to hear, I think a really good take on this, you should look up Dunkview. Donkey's opinion on this game, I think, is 100% accurate. I think he really like touches on everything in this game really well. Even hits the point where at the beginning there's like an hour long, probably not like an hour, but it's like an hour long segment where it's like a bunch of boring text, and then once you get through that, finally the world opens up to you, and you're like, yes, I can play this game now. But you get handheld through like a bunch of the early stages, and then the world opens up, and then you start getting like mounts and stuff like that, and like different Pokemon you can ride to do different things, and it's like it's really fascinating how they took this game, like Pokemon Go tasks and stuff, and put it into this. I haven't really felt that's grindy. I've just kind of battled to level. I've just been leveling up my Pokemon basically, and so any battles I get into, anytime. The only thing I do find grindy is that before I go back to the professor, I will get 30 Pokemon because that's about the cap at which you get your experience there. And so I don't go over 30. I just hit 30. Once I hit 30, it doesn't matter what Pokemon they are. Then I turn in my stuff and get my stars and stuff like that. And the tasks are just kind of tertiary to the rest of the stuff. You don't really have to focus on them at all. You'll get your stars. I'm like 4th or 5th star. I forget. Kate's probably like 6th by now, and she's got like 500 Bidoof.
Dang. That is
So what's
that is
like
a lot.
like if I wanted to beat the game, right?
Yeah.
Is leveling my Pokemon gonna help, or do I want to be catching Pokemon, or
It's very unique because usually in Pokemon, from what I understand, you level your Pokemon in order to get more powerful Pokemon, but you can actually catch more powerful Pokemon in this game. My Pokemon are level 40 something, and I was able to catch a 55
wow.
randomly. I think the end game is at the very beginning of the story, you fall out of a time portal. That's like how they start the game off.
An
And the professor
isekai.
finds you, and he's like, "Holy crap! You fell out of that time gate! Like, what the heck? You're on the speech now. Do you want a Pokemon?" That's basically how the game starts.
God bless.
And then, like throughout the game, you're quelling the fury of different legendary Pokemon. And then I don't know the ending of the game, so I'm guessing it goes towards finding out why you came through the portal, and so
Yeah.
that's
So, because I'm level 10 and pretty much almost, I'm research level 10 at this point or it's 10 stars and almost done it. Finished playing the main campaign, and yeah, basically, you can train your Pokemon up. There are some like checks of just being like, you have to beat this trainer to continue on to the storyline.
Okay.
And so like you will need to have a team of Pokemon to be able to beat them. And you can do that by actually using them. The other nice thing is that if you catch 500 Bidoofs and you release 400 of them, they give you a bunch of things to boost the stats of those of any Pokemon that you give the grit, as it's called, to, which is kind of nice, because then even though you may not have it doesn't increase your, Machamp from 40 to 41. It does allow you to be able to be like, oh, hey, now their speed is better, their strength is better, their health pool's bigger, stuff like that. Those stats that you normally see in Pokemon, you can amp that up and make them better in that way, at least. I think the only thing that I has really upset me is the fact that when you do get to those trainer battles and you are fighting those trainers, it's always after I've been exploring, so I don't have
Right?
Everybody's on their last fucking legs somehow, and then they're just I'm gonna battle you, and you're like, Jesus, please no, I'm weak, no one can fight you. And then I get my ass handed to me, of course, and then instantly after I'm done getting my ass handed to me, instead of throwing me back somewhere like other games would, it just starts me at in that same conversation with fully hailed Pokemon. And I'm just like, game, why don't you just do this at the start? Which they do. When you first start out the game, every time someone's about to fight you, they just go, here, let me heal your Pokemon up first so we can have a fair battle. And you kind of scoff at that. But then at the end, I was just like, where did this go? Why are... Because obviously it's still there. If I die and then immediately nothing has changed, I just have all of my Pokemon now at full health, and I'm still in front of that same trainer. I don't lose anything for that. So I was like, there's no reason not to just walk up, get my ass handed to me. All right, cool, everyone's back, and then just do it again. So I was like, this just seems weird. Can't you just heal them from the start so we could have a fair fight? I don't know. It's odd. It's weird. I don't like it.
It's weird that they changed that at one point.
Yeah.
I've started just fast traveling back to camps and healing before I progress story. So I'll explore. Once I'm done exploring, I'm like, all right, let me fast travel back to this camp. Let me get on my my mount. Let me sprint across the map, and then talk to that person. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna battle now.
I just always find somebody to fight, or some Pokemon ready to just be no, I'm an alpha, and you're like, fuck, okay. I always have somebody that's weak by the time I get to that point, and then I'm sad, and I was like, ugh.
I think the difficulty level, if you're trying to look for something that's old Pokemon games, this one is not it. This one is very easy from what I've played so far.
Yeah, it's definitely built to be that exploration. They even in the battle system, you only ever use 1 or 2 moves before the battles are decided.
Yeah,
you're not having long battles.
To be fair, they haven't really made a difficult Pokemon game in ages. The first one's the only one that I would call difficult. Beyond that, they've all been pretty freaking easy. Getting easier, I think, as you get further along. So I'm not surprised by that. I guess it's interesting. It sounds really interesting. I don't know if it's for me, but it does sound really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, knowing you, I think that you would have fun at least checking it out. I think if I handed this to you for over a weekend, you would have a good time playing it for the weekend, being like, oh, this is some neat stuff. These are some cool mechanics. Whether that sticks with you and you continue playing it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if Nintendo ever breaks their law of never putting anything on sale, then this goes on sale, then maybe pick it up for 30. It might be worth it, but 60 is kind of a steep price for this game. I mean, I've got a lot of hours out of it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I've played tons of hours because I think I've got 130 Pokemon above the research level 10 point, and there's 220 some in the game.
I also enjoy putting my body pillow on top of me, putting the screen on my chest, and then just having my arms at my side while I lay in bed playing it. Just fall asleep that way.
There you go.
Nice.
I mean, it works. It works. Whatever lulls you to sleep. That's what matters. You got to get a good quality sleep at night. So, whatever gets you there.
The Switch, you could just lay there and sleep.
Let's move. As much as I would love to continue to talk about
2 more hours about this. I
Pokemon
feel like this is a good topic.
let's move on. Caleb, what have you been playing lately?
I haven't been playing a lot new. I've been playing a bunch more of Warm Snow. I've almost 100% of that game. Getting pretty close. I've been playing more Nobody Saves the World with Alex, more Back for Blood, etc. The one kind of new game I've been playing, well, one of the two, I guess, is a little game called Heck Deck.
Is that actually what it's called, or are you censoring yourself?
That's
is it called,
actually the name. It is called Heck Deck. It is called Heck Deck. It is a bullet hell card game.
Why?
Why do you
Yeah.
always find
What does that
some
even
genre
mean?
of
Yeah,
game
yeah.
and
So
combine
you-
it with cards? Why do you do this?
I don't know. You play
Is it a
this little...
roguelike too?
No, I wouldn't call it a roguelike, I don't think.
You
It
don't
doesn't
think?
meet his. It doesn't meet his classification level of roguelike.
Maybe you could call it a roguelike. I mean, you die and you have to start all the way over at the beginning, so maybe.
Seems
Um,
roguelikey.
Sounds
maybe.
roguelikey.
But it's this little bullet hell. Like I said, we play this little ghost guy and you're flying around. But the enemies and the bullets only move when you do. So time kind of pauses when you stop,
Super hot.
and you can decide where you're going. Yeah. And you have to play cards to use weapons on enemies. And the way you get cards is by running into them, because the cards are the bullets. So you have to play this game where you sacrifice health to get powerful cards and then pick up health cards, which health cards are free to pick up and play.
I should
interesting.
hope.
And you got to kind of play this game of keeping your health low and then building it back up while you're fighting off all of these different enemies. And you got to like pick and choose which cards you're picking up, because some of them are not great, but still cost health.
That's actually pretty
like-
interesting.
It's a really cool concept.
Roguelike deck builder, bullet hell, super hot like.
There's no deck building. You play the cards once and they're done. You don't build a deck.
So it's essentially like the cards represent just an upgrade to your current
It's
loadout.
just like it's like a move. It's not really an
It's a
upgrade,
move.
right?
Yeah, it's a
Because you
move.
burn it.
You burn the
Oh,
cards.
got it.
do
Got
the
it, got
move.
it.
And then there's every card has a health cost associated to pick it up, and a timer that after you use that card, how long you have to move around before you can use another card.
Mm.
Interesting.
So there's plenty of dodging to be done. But the health cards being free pickup is a really interesting mechanic, because then some of the cards that they shoot out they don't hurt you, but they take up your hand size.
Sure.
So it's also a weird kind of game you got to play with the health cards, where you don't necessarily want to pick them up, but they allow you to get through a large area full of bullets and whatnot.
That seems cool.
Yeah, and then in
Does
between
it?
each of the stages, there's a shop where you can pay health to buy cards or sell cards for health.
Does it get annoying having to constantly pause to play cards? That's like my main concern.
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
No, I think the starting and stopping it flows really nicely.
Okay.
Oh, that's on mobile.
Oh, is it? Nice.
Good old.
I bet it would
Heck
work
Deck.
well. I mean,
I
it
look-
does
I
look
looked at the video.
like
and I
it
was
would
like,
be
this
a
looks
mobile
like a
game.
mobile game.
Also,
It does look a little bit like a mobile game.
it's very whatever you call that aspect ratio.
But
Vertical.
the
well,
mechanics
portrait,
are
but-
built well for it.
Yeah, portrait, I guess.
4-3.
Yeah, I've been having fun with it. I haven't beaten it yet. I've gotten to stage 4. Haven't beaten stage 4 yet. I think there's 5.
Cool.
It's been fun.
Jake, let's move on to you. What have you been playing?
Oh, me. Okay. Well, I revisited a game from last year, 2 years ago,
2 years,
whenever
I
it came
think.
out. Red Dead Redemption 2. I went back, I got it on PC, and I finished it.
Finished it.
I finished
Wow.
it. Yeah, I ended up really, really liking it. We dunked on this game when it came out, and rightfully so. There's a lot of really slow stuff. It's very self-indulgent with its animations. But I think it's worth playing. I would encourage you guys to give it another shot. I think it's really helpful knowing that it's going to be self-indulgent and kind of slow. not going in thinking like, all right, let's go like rob some trains and shoot some guys. It's like, nah, you're probably just gonna like chill with some guys in camp for a little bit. Like that's just gonna be a thing. So kind of approaching it, kind of for me, once it clicked that it's more of like a sim almost, like it's more of a game about like going around and hunting and cooking and kind of exploring the world rather than like a crazy shoot 'em up cowboy game. I think that really helped me enjoy it. It also helped knowing that a lot of the really tedious stuff, like looting bodies, anytime you want to pick up stuff from a body that's not ammo, you gotta hold a button, and then you crouch down, you pat their pockets, grab something, put it in your pocket, and then you see, oh, I got 4 more bullets. Awesome. Well, guess what? Just don't do that. This game is super duper easy. Like, fuck that. Just run around, pick up all the bullets, you don't have to deal with it. There's another mechanic where you can, like, you can craft your bullets into split bullets, which are, like, a little bit better, and you do them one by one at a campfire. And guess what? Never do that. Regular bullets still kill people. Like, just fuck those bullets. They're dumb. I don't know why they're in there. Just use the normal ones that they give you. It's fine.
Do you
So,
think
like-
is it just built that way so that people who really want to have that experience of doing like one task, just sitting there for a long period of time doing one task and just enjoy that like aspect of the game?
I think, so to me, I think the idea is that, like, there's a tough fight coming up. I need to, like, build my arsenal. I need to be ready. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna craft, like, 50 of these stupid fucking bullets. That way I'm, like, ready. But again, like, the game's not really hard. You got
Right.
auto-aim, and you can just flick to someone's head in, like, a second with, like, you know, probably, like, 70% of the time, just muscle memory, just pop them immediately. Higher if you're using a keyboard and mouse. But yeah, I didn't bother with it. Like, I only switched to, like, my specialty ammunition. Like, there's, like, high velocity rounds and, like, express rounds. And I only switched to those because I realized I've had 200 of them for, like, the last, 10 hours of the game. So I was like, well, I guess I should use these since,
Might as
the
well.
game's almost over. But yeah, the story actually is really good. I ended up really, really liking it. It does something really interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything, even though this game's old and people probably already know. But there's like it's a really small moment fairly early in the game, maybe the end of like chapter 2 or 3, that ends up having like huge ramifications, which I thought was really, really cool. It kind of threw me because I didn't play the game kind of all in one sitting. I like played it, took a break for a few months, picked it back up. So like when that thing came back up again, I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like what event happened that everyone is talking about? And so I like Googled it and I was like, oh yeah, that was in like January. Like last January, like 2021 January, right. So, I thought the story was really cool. The characters are well written. It was really enjoyable. Like I said, I would recommend checking it out again if you still own it from last time.
How
One
long
last
did it
thing
take you to
about
beat
it.
it?
Oh man, let's look at Steam. So this is nice because it won't count my original attempt. I have 75 and a half hours. I did a lot of side stuff. I didn't really mainline it. But yeah. It's also worth noting, you think you finished the game, and it comes up and it says epilogue, and you go, great, I'm like done. You are a clown. You have like 6 more hours of just doing story missions.
Yeah.
6
The epilogue-
hours of epilogue?
The epilogue
it's-
is huge.
It is preposterous. It is, because it comes up and it's like epilogue, and I'm like, great, we're almost done. Then it says part 1, and I'm like, what do you mean part 1?
Yep.
It's an epilogue. We should be
So
like
it's like
wrapping up.
like it's
Right.
starting to get late. You might want to go to bed soon, but then it says epilogues. You're like, I could just finish it.
Do not do
No.
that. It's
No.
so long.
I'm curious about your your take that the story was well written, because I felt it was just such a fucking stupid thing that every time something would happen and you're like, okay, cool, I got us like a bunch of money or something, and then you're like, what Dutch was always just like, all right, Morgan, I got one more job, and you're like, dude, you said that 7 jobs ago. We're fine, we have enough money, you're an asshole.
It is an incredibly slow boil. The first several chapters do feel very much like, okay, we go to a place, we do some stuff, Dutch says he has a big job, it doesn't really go well, and then you gotta move. It happens probably like 3 chapters in a row, but
Okay.
I think it does a very good job of basically setting the scene, laying the groundwork, so that way when the story kind of picks up and the status quo starts changing, it's not just like the game's like, Arthur really likes Dutch, but things haven't been going so well. It's like, because you've been there. You get to experience like the whole crew coming together. Like there's a part pretty early on in chapter 1 where you like go back to camp after a big job and everyone's like celebrating. It's like a big party, they're singing, and it really throws into contrast like later when things are kind of going to shit and everyone's just angry and quiet and drunk, and it's just like, wow, like you feel it, you know?
Okay, maybe I'm just missing part of that then, because I'm 35 hours into this game
You're not even halfway.
solely running through the campaign, though. I'm not doing all of the side stuff. I'm like really
Not
focusing
even
on the
halfway.
campaign. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's, I don't know. I'm not gonna dictate how to enjoy the game, but taking
You
it
should.
slow, enjoying the world, I ended up really, really enjoying.
I definitely agree with you on that part. I think that the world is very pretty. It's fun to get lost in and just like go hunting or something. Like, you know, take some time and just it's a very slow burn. You're right. I had a lot of problems in that story and I stopped playing because of the fact that I was just like, I just want to shoot Dutch. And for the past 10 hours, I've wanted to shoot Dutch. And I do not understand how Arthur Morgan has not even thought about shooting fucking Dutch.
So
I don't know if you've played Red Dead Redemption 1, but things don't go great for Dutch super good.
Yeah.
So Jake, in your opinion, the tedium and like the slow, drawn out pace of the story and everything actually like makes it better in the end, do you think?
I would say yes. I'm not gonna sit here and say that yes, it's absolutely worth it and you should slog through it. It's definitely like even for me, right, going in and enjoying it again, there were there's a reason I took like a several month break from it, because it reached a point where I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna switch to like, something more action packed.
Yeah.
Something that I can just kind of pick up and play and it's like instantly gratifying. It's definitely something I felt like I had to be in the mood for, like just being like, oh yeah, no, me and Arthur, we're just we're gonna do some hunting. Maybe I'll find like a legendary animal. Maybe we'll go rob a bank. Yeah, no, it'll be like a chill time. But I do think in the end, it gives the game, it gives it a real sense of like you've lived this life and like the crew. Like when something happens and a crew member gets like hurt, you're not like, oh, who was that? You're like, oh my god, like I was just hanging out with that guy like 3 missions ago. Like I think it does a good job of setting that kind of stuff up.
This is going to be a weird tangent, but I have a question for you, Jake.
Okay.
Because you're saying that like there's like a slow boil of the story and that you thought that was good and you liked that. And I'm wondering, because have you watched and do you like either The Witch or The Green Knight?
I have not watched either of them.
Damn.
So
Okay.
that's not a great
Because
point
they
of
are
reference.
movies that are slow boil movies that people like, it's critically acclaimed. They're people say that they're good, and I fucking cannot stand them. So I'm wondering if this is like of that same nature.
I mean,
And
it could just. I mean, yeah. There's a movie, The Blackcoat's Daughter, I think it was called. I don't know if it's similar to those, obviously, because I've not seen them. But there's another one where for like the first maybe it's not super clear what's going on. It's like, is this a horror movie? Is this more of like a teen drama thing? But then at the end, it kind of all comes together, and I did end up really liking it.
Okay.
I think it's one where like you kind of, it's hard to say, because sometimes it pays off for you, and you're like, yeah, it was definitely worth it. But other times it's like, well, the ending didn't work for me, so like I didn't, it feels like it just wasted my time.
Yeah.
So all I can really say is
Yeah.
for me, it ended up working in Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
I've
because that
seen-
was my thought was just kind of like maybe that's just a thing because I know that I don't like slow burns in movies, and maybe
Sure.
that also applies to video games. It does not work the same way for me as you, but I'm glad that it works for you.
I've seen both The Witch and The Green Knight, and I hated The Witch, and I thought The Green Knight was really good. So I don't know where I'm at. I also tried to play Red Dead when it first came out and stopped playing it, so I don't.
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know where
I
stand on
think
that
we
stuff.
all did when it first came out. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely dropped it very early.
Is it good enough that like you wish it had made your list that year, Game of the Year list that year?
I
was on
don't.
your
I don't
list, I
know what
believe.
list it came out. Oh, it was on my list. It was last
It
on my
was?
list because nothing else
Okay.
good came out that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it good enough that you're intrigued about trying to do Red Dead Online?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
0.0.
There you go.
Cool. What else have you been playing?
Yeah, I know. That was just the first one. These next two should be fast, though. I played Axiom Verge. That's another old game. It's a Metroidvania, emphasis on Metroid. It was pretty good. It's not my favorite Metroidvania. The combat feels a lot more like find the exploit a little bit, like find the gun that's gonna let me kill that guy without him knowing where I am. Which, it's like a kind of like a tactical thing of like switching through this arsenal, trying to like figure out what you want to use. But to me, the real highlight of this game was the soundtrack, which is pretty good, and the aesthetic. It goes for like a retro kind of like pixely thing. And one of the cooler things it does is there's like this like corruption that's like taking over the world, but it's like stylized to look like old school like graphical glitches. So it leans pretty heavily into like the nostalgia factor of that. And I thought that was really, really cool.
How's the level design in that game?
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean, it's no Hollow Knight or anything. I wouldn't say. Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. Like nothing is. It's not like a must-play Metroidvania, I would say. But if you're jonesing for more Metroidvania, it is a pretty decent one.
Okay.
And then the last thing I played is Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time, and this game fucking slaps. It's so good. It's so good. I like just a few months ago finished the Crash Bandicoot trilogy for the first time. And this is easily the best Crash Bandicoot game that's ever existed.
Wow.
I guess there's so many. I guess I can't really say that. I've only played the first 3, but this one, it's so good. It's so good. It's so fun. It's got such a tight design. Yeah, and I really loved it. It's got a lot of callbacks to like older stuff from the original trilogy. But it doesn't feel like self-congratulatory. Like everything feels pretty naturally worked in. There's like an overarching story that's actually not half bad. The animation's really pretty. You unlock lots of fun skins as you play. The gems aren't just there for like 100% completion. Like if you get 6 gems in a level, you like unlock a new skin for Crash or Coco that you can wear in later levels, and they all look really good and they all are really fun. So yeah, no, really liked Crash 4.
How many of the levels have you running towards your own?
God. There are a few. There are a couple. I don't know. You guys complain about this all the time. Those levels are so fucking easy. They're just follow the Wampa fruit. That's it. It's over.
It's not even that it's bad. It's just so weird. It's so different.
It is. I mean, yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like you're most games you're enjoying the aspect of like what is to come in the landscape of the game that you're playing, and that you are enjoying none of that, and it's like a reflection on where you've been, but you don't really have time to think about it because you're also trying to be like, all right, which way am I gonna go?
You also can't see where you've been because there's a giant boulder in the way.
Yeah.
Oh, that too.
I think if I'm remembering right, the few times it happens, it's not like the whole level is running away. It's usually like you have a pretty long section of just like the platforming part, and then it ends with like a chase. Which I don't know if that helps or hurts. I mean, those sections never really bothered me, even in the old games. So
sections are about building tension.
Oh
yeah,
my
gosh. They're fine. Just follow the Wampa fruits, run, jump, whatever.
It's hard to build tension in a chase scene when killing you just takes you back to the start of it.
That's true.
It does nothing.
I mean, yeah.
Shall we move on, Chad? Yes, let's do it. Chad, what have you been playing lately?
Roguelikes, I guess.
I mean, all video games just send you back to a checkpoint. It's fine.
Yeah,
we can
because
move
all
on.
video games have no tension if you respawn at a checkpoint.
Yep. Forecast original quote. Write it down, everyone.
That was all me, by the way. I was throwing my voice.
Yeah, it was
Sorry,
honestly
Chad.
impressive. Honestly impressive.
That's good. It's good. My segment should be super fast.
I don't know
so
why.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about it very slowly. No, I'm kidding. So
that's perfect, honestly, because I don't know why I'm rushing anybody. I don't know if anybody's looked. There's like 2 notes down past the what you've been playing lately.
there really
So
is.
let's move through
That's-
this, boys. Let's through it to get to the good stuff, which is ending the podcast, I guess. That makes me just sad.
Let's get
It's
to the good
awful.
stuff. Let's,
Not
let's
much
close
news
it
this
down.
week, man.
I do
don't
like
know
it when
yet.
we end the podcast.
Best part of the podcast.
Yeah, so everybody knows I've been playing Fortnite. It's not really news. They added a machine pistol to the already spray meta. That's cool,
they
I
just-
guess.
Are they just going to fully lean into that, get rid of everything else, and just full spray meta, just like change all the weapons?
The meta balances between builds matter and shotgun play and spray meta. So this is just the season of spray. FNCS is coming up, which is their real competitive kind of scene. Like what, the 14th I think is the or 17th is like the qualifiers and stuff like that. So we might see a little shift in the meta maybe before that. Maybe they're just trying to like appease the casuals currently. I mean, it's fun enough with friends, and if you don't actually get too competitive in that game, then whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Pokemon. I've been playing that a little bit. And oddly enough, I played the actual last section, the very last boss of Banjo-Kazooie, because Caitlin was playing it and she's like, I can't beat this. I was like, give it to me. I got this. One shot. Let me tell you what. Did not one shot that. The controls are so janky. I didn't know how to play that game. There were parts where like at one point you go up into the air and I said, Kate, how do you dash? And she goes, use the left stick to blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, how do you dash? And she goes, and then you gotta feathers. You need feathers. And I'm like, Kate, how do you dash? And she goes, oh, this button. I'm like, thank you. I didn't know what you were asking. We're great at communicating. So that's that. That's what I've been playing.
Cool. I'll go last. I haven't been playing a ton, but I did play a little Extraction, Rainbow Six Extraction with Caleb and Alex, previously named, Quarantine? But name changed. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like anything's going on. That they would have changed that name. I would say from my perspective, I'm a big Siege fan. I really like Time to Kill in that game. I think it's really complicated and hard, and I die a lot when I play Siege. In fact, hardly ever win, but somehow it's enjoyable enough that I keep playing. This just takes all of the complexity of playing against people who are really good and just puts you against its PvE. And you're playing a tactical shooter, multiplayer shooter in a enclosed map. It's way too easy at the lower difficulty levels. In fact, I was pretty bored when we first started playing. I didn't really feel like there was any challenge at all, but I think now that we've reached the second level and the second tier of difficulty, it started to amp it up a little bit, add some new enemies in there. Alex constantly is alerting things, kind of like he does in Back 4 Blood.
Classic.
So, the game's cool. I think the change of objectives from between the 3 sections for each level and the randomization of that is kind of fun. Plus, it has that what do they call that? It's not an evolution. What do they call that little like change? Like they make one change to the boss or one change to the enemies. Mutations. Thank you. I think that's cool. It keeps the game a little fresh. And as it gets more complicated, I think that's going to add a lot and make it feel very CG and not the letter C, the letter G, like siege-like the game. So, I like that game. You guys still having fun with it? You've played a lot more hours than me.
Yeah, it's pretty fun still.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Not just me.
I mean,
Okay,
me and Caleb and Chad have 100% the first 2 areas at least, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you haven't gone to the other 2? Or...
We haven't gone to the other 2 areas,
We started
but
on
we
the third,
did. We
right?
have done the 3rd level of difficulty in the 2nd area. A decent
Oh,
amount.
that's right. And you guys have not done the 4th level yet, which I'm sure that's going to be nuts. Cool.
Yeah,
We have-
I was
we have
having a good
changed
time with
our-
it. Like we
But-
played like hours and hours just on the first 3 levels, and I didn't
Really?
really get bored.
Man.
Yeah.
And we cranked up
Man.
the difficulty pretty fast beyond the 1st level of difficulty. As soon as we unlocked it, basically, we were doing all level 2 difficulty stuff.
Yeah. mean, I feel like they honestly just should have started with that difficulty and just ramped it up that way. But whatever. I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. It's a cool game. If you like Siege and you don't like getting absolutely decimated every time you launch the game, just go play Extraction. You can still play with the characters, but no one's killing you. It's fun.
Unless your own teammates decide to leave the zone without you, then you're dead.
That could happen. That could happen.
Does that happen to you guys too?
No.
Oh, it's just me.
In fact, Caleb brought up, because I had not played with the two of them before, but Caleb brought up, like, the first time we walked into one of the airlocks, he's like, wow, Alex was the first person to press the airlock button? What's going on?
It was weird.
Yeah, I was playing. I guess it didn't matter which class because it was just the tactical equipment is what I had, and it was the sensors, the dome sensor things, and so I had placed those like everywhere, and so I was like walking through and picking them up, and I noticed the timer, and I'm like, guys, I'm not making this. I'm not making it there. They're like, you better run
without me.
They complain about me never hitting the button, and then Chad gets left when I hit the button. So,
well, it is what it is.
That game was fun.
That's what it is. It's a cool game. I also been playing or played during the beta weekend. We played some Midnight Ghost Hunt. 3 of us did. Another one tried to get in. Actually, 2 other people tried to get in to play that game, but I don't know if they were just full or distracted by server problems or what. But if you registered, I feel like after Friday noon, you did not get into that game. Midnight Ghost Hunt is a 4-player, it's a 4v4 game where you're playing as ghost hunters. It's honestly just Ghostbusters, except you look like normal people and you're fighting like literally spectral spirits, not things you can see super easily. They're hiding inside of props. It's got a little prop hunt element to it. So you kind of, as a spirit, you go hide in a prop and then you can move around, jump from prop to prop. You gain abilities as ghosts, so you can do very specific things like throw props or cause explosions or create smoke clouds. And then on the other side, you have all of the Ghostbusters, essentially, and they're running around with different pieces of equipment. Some of them have like a literal spectral cannon, so you can defeat ghosts. And then when the ghosts die, people will have vacuums to vacuum things up. Alex runs around with a grappling hook thing. Is it not a grappling hook? What is it? Is it actually a grappling hook?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It just doesn't...
I only switch to the grappling hook when it's time for the ghost to chase you.
No, the other thing. Not the grappling hook. The thing that you hold the ghost in place. What is that called?
Oh. It was like the harpoon, yeah.
Harpoon, thank you. It's a cool game. It was fun. We played, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 hours of it. It was a lot of fun. It actually seems fairly polished already. I don't know when the release date is. At some point of this year. But I think the one, and we kind of all talked about this after we got done playing, but I think the one aspect of that game is it's going to have a very quick learning curve for people who play it all the time, and then that's who you're going to get matched against, and you're just going to get absolutely decimated. I'm a little worried that I'll lose interest rather quickly.
Yeah, it could be a game that is fun the first couple weeks, and then people are too good at it.
Probably so.
Like the best example I have is there's
the match though.
Yeah, it's really fun. I guess I didn't talk about that, but the flow of the match basically is you show up for some reason 4 minutes before midnight. I don't know why you're always showing up 4 minutes before midnight, but that's just the game mechanics. You show up 4 minutes before midnight. You have to find the ghosts and the props as the Ghostbusters. As the spectral spirits, you're just kind of running around trying to hide. When midnight hits, if a ghost is still alive, all the other ghosts respawn, and then they become super strong and can all of a sudden destroy all the Ghostbusters. And so you have to hide for 4 minutes as the person who's seeking until you can get extracted from the zone. And that's basically like the loop. It's always that. Why they don't show up at 11:30 p.m. to give them half an hour to find ghosts, I don't know.
Or just like, middle of the afternoon or something.
Are you sure it's not 5 minutes to midnight by Boys Like Girls?
Oh, shoot, it could be. If it's not, they missed out. Dang. Good call.
It's actually 4 minutes. That seems like such a weird time.
I don't remember how many minutes it is exactly.
Minutes.
Is it 5?
Then it definitely is Boys Like Girls.
It's good. It's good on them. I'm proud of them.
Glad a weird decision on the Ghost Hunter to show up 5 minutes before the ghosts get super strong.
Strange decision.
Odd choice. Maybe they just want to make it a challenge, put their lives on the line.
The other thing I'll say is it also they did a good job, I think, of introducing other ways for players to participate after they die. Specifically for the ghosts. I mean, you kind of are just. You would expect if you die as a ghost or disappear as a ghost, you wouldn't have anything to do, but you can still have some abilities, and you can run around, and you can still use map awareness to communicate to teammates where the ghost hunters are. So it gives you a little bit of usability, even though you're not actually playing as a ghost in the game. I'm glad they included that. Otherwise, I feel like it'd get the classic BR watching your teammates go play a game while you're just sitting around twiddling your thumbs. All in all, cool game. I enjoyed it. I have no idea when it's coming out, but I'll probably pick it up, play it for all of like a weekend, and then by the next time I go to play it again, people will be awesome at that game, and I'll hate it. I'm excited. I'm excited, guys. Very excited. Let's talk about some other games, though. More importantly, one that multiple of us have played a lot of hours of because it just came out in the game section, which is a Dying Light 2. Game is it's the sequel to Dying Light 1, in case you missed that. This is Dying Light 2.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense than what I thought.
Yeah.
Stay human.
Stay human. Oh yeah, sorry. I meant to pull the name out there. Thoughts on the game so far?
A solid 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it a 7.
Oh, so not the 7.5, just
Not
7.
7.5, just 7.
All right,
I'm trying to give it a 7.
What
Just 7.
reduces the half for you?
I mean, it's just a 7 for me. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
He can't do halves. He's got to do a 1 out of 10 scale.
What makes you the 7.5, so I don't know what difference makes me the 7, you know?
Got it. I feel like we would have to talk for a very long time about this.
Yeah,
game,
I think so.
to find out what the 0.5 is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of important. So, 7.5, a 7. Alex?
I'd probably go 8.
An 8.
Oh,
We're
okay.
all half a point away from one another.
All right.
All right, Aaron, no pressure.
I'm going to rate it out of 4. I'm going to give it a 3.
Wow.
So, I think...
So just the same
Wow.
as Chad's rating.
7.5.
That's right. I think they have made some necessary adjustments to Dying Light 1. Very important. I think they made some changes to nighttime, which are really cool in this game. Basically, you're wearing this little... If you've never played Dying Light, basically it's a zombie game. It's a zombie open world survival zombie game where you're crafting weapons, running around, doing missions, and
Zombie
for some
parkour
reason,
game.
right, parkouring everywhere. I mean, in the first game, they literally introduce one line that tells you where you got parkouring from. This one, no idea. No one knows, but you can parkour.
You're a pilgrim.
You're a pilgrim, whatever the heck that means.
Whatever that means.
Played 13 hours this game. I have no idea what a pilgrim is. They travel long distances. I know that. But in this game, you have a little band, and the band, you're infected, of course, because that is literally the only way that they can progress the storyline in Dying Light games. So at the very beginning, you get bit by a zombie or infected in one way or another, and then all of a sudden you're like, about to turn on occasion, and then you have this one mechanic in the game that prevents you from turning. In the first game, it's getting this medicine that you take on occasion. And in the second game, it's antizin. And in the second game, you're wearing this little band, and the whole point of the band is to tell you how long you'll have before you turn. Because apparently, this virus is very precise. And I mean very precise. 5 minutes exactly after you walk out of the sunlight or a UV lamp, you will become a zombie.
It's
Very
bad.
Sucks.
Yeah.
So
Awful.
I think one of the things that both of these games need to just get rid of is the hour-long tutorial you have to play through at the beginning of the game before you can play co-op together.
Yeah.
I feel like I could rate this game higher if that wasn't in there.
That is
It's
really
even frustrating
frustrating.
in the first game.
I do remember you saying specifically, I'm taking an entire point off of this game because of the duration of the tutorial.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's 2022. We don't want to play through a tutorial for an hour so that we can play with our friends. We got this game that's labeled co-op so that we can co-op it.
Yeah. Or make the tutorial co-op. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Why does there have to be single player tutorials?
It does seem like if you're okay with undercutting the story later with co-op,
Yeah.
just undercut it from the start with co-op, or design it in a way where it doesn't undercut it that much.
Because it's not like they address that there's 3 other people with you later in the
Right.
story.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just
In fact-
kind of form into one person and then talk to somebody for a bit and then
Yeah.
break into 4 people and run off into the city again.
and And it's not like it's balanced for multiple players. That game is meant for a single player experience. It is wildly clear that it's meant for a single player experience, with the exception of like racing people in parkour things. You can basically do the entire game solo, and it would probably feel more like your decisions would feel like they have more impact. Fights would feel like complicated.
They added a lot of complexity to the combat system with like parrying and like special moves you can do at certain times and timing things out. And all of it kind of gets thrown out the window when you have 4 people against one boss, because you all surround him and beat the ever-loving crap out of him. And he's just on the ground, unable to do anything. And you're slamming mouse 1 into his face.
You end up like chopping off 3 appendages in his head. It's just a corpse lying on the ground. The whole boss battle takes all of 30 seconds. I mean,
there was one boss that we beat him so bad that he was animating to stand back up, and he had like no head, no arm. He stood back up, looked at us, and then like crumpled to the ground again, because like we killed him so fast the game didn't know what was happening.
I don't understand. I mean, like, I get that they make the zombies like, it's just like they're like meat shields at some point. It was way worse in Dying Light 1. They at least fixed a little bit of this, but I don't think they took the time to say, all right, you're playing with 4 players, let's just add more enemies into the fights that you have to deal with like humans, not with zombies that are in the game, but when you're fighting other factions. Just, I don't know, you're fighting to one guy. How about we make it one guy plus 3 other people that are also good at combat who are fighting the 4 of you?
Yeah,
I do believe going from Dying Light 1 and seeing we were on hard at first on Dying Light 1, and like we actually switched it to normal, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was so hard.
The zombies took so many hits in Dying Light 1. Immediately, the first thing I saw when I started playing Dying Light 2, even on normal, they took an incredible amount of hits. Dying Light 2 launched, I got to my first fight, I killed a zombie with like 3 hits, and I was like, all right, even on hard, this game is already 1,000 times easier. I do believe that the health pool does scale, because it did like take 3 hits or so on single, like through the tutorial, but then like once we got into the open world together, they are taking a little bit more hits. If you guys separate across the town and you start having your little fights alone, then you can start doing what Alex is talking about, where you're like, blocking an attack and striking and like, jumping over people and drop kicking them and actually having that combat. But if you are together, yeah, you're definitely just slamming mouse 1 and just absolutely destroying a lobby. Or you have somebody who went full ranged with their DPS there, and they just throw 1 spear and it just takes a guy out. So
yeah.
The
parkour. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they did remove guns, so there's that.
As far as we know.
Yeah, right. As far as we know.
I mean, so far we haven't even made it to the second zone, which is bigger than the first zone.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And we're in this game like 14 hours in. Now, I will point this out. When the developers were originally talking about this game, they said 500 hours to complete it. And then they had to come back and be like, okay, all right, okay, it's not 500 hours. It's like closer to like 30 hours for the campaign, maybe 25, 30 hours for the campaign. If you do everything in the game, explore every inch of the city, do all of the missions, everything, find all the collectibles, 500 hours. Sure, okay. All right, fine. A lot of content. I get it.
So to touch on the tutorial and single playerizing that, they did that in Dying Light 1 as well. And what they did at the end of the game is they also took you out of co-op. Like, it was jarring. It was just like, by the way, you're gonna play this by yourself for the last mission.
Yeah.
So you actually play the last mission by yourself. You have quick time events, and the story completes basically without your teammates or your co-op. Wondering if they're going to do the same thing with this game because of the way they did the tutorial as a single player section. So it's just setting it up to where it's the same.
Yeah.
It's just writing the same, laws down.
Definitely doesn't bode well.
They use a lot of the same basic story elements in this. Like the one thing Alex was complaining about right when we got started with this game, he's like, I really hope they don't have the whole thing where like your character all of a sudden starts getting turned by a zombie and that's what allows the story to progress. Literally the first major section of the tutorial, it happens.
It doesn't happen to you ever until it's a cutscene and it's important for you to be hindered by something.
Of course. Which is in no way affected by the amount of time you have been in the game world.
Sure.
In no way.
Nights are really cool now, though. Like, you're actually like we don't skip nights anymore. Like we would run back to sleep for nighttime a lot of times before because they're just so dangerous with roaming volatiles and stuff like that. Now volatiles are like contained within certain buildings and stuff like that. They're not just roaming everywhere. And nighttime is cool because there's still like a sense of urgency, because if you don't have UV light, then you'll turn after a certain amount of time. So you have to go do whatever you're doing and then get back to a safe area in the allotted time you have, or else.
You have the GTA police star system.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's like howlers that will start chases, and you have to like parkour through the city to get to a safe location to get those off of your back. A lot of neat mechanics around the day-night cycle. Like
There's
that.
like quote-unquote dungeons that you can go into at night that were super dangerous during the day that you can get some sick
Like
loot.
special
Mhm.
loot.
Yeah, because like zombies don't like the day, which brings me to, I don't know why they didn't use vampires instead of zombies, because they do so much with like zombies hate light. They can't be in sunlight. They don't like UV, and I'm like, that's a vampire thing. That's not a zombie thing.
They want
What
to
are
be
you doing?
mindless too, so they gotta go zombies.
Well,
I
what,
guess.
They like mindless vampires, though.
what were the
Why
things
not?
in I Am Legend?
Just
Were they
seems
not
weird.
Yeah,
considered?
I think I Am
zombies?
Legend was vampires.
They were They were
Like
I feel
some
they weren't
sort of
very
weird
well
hybrid.
defined, though.
Nah,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't think they were.
They were just kinda like-
creatures.
yeah. Cool
That's what
goods.
volatiles look like. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's similar.
also, we were talking a minute ago about this whole story thing. When you start this game, there's like a I don't know 4-minute movie you watch at the very beginning. The premise is the first game, that whole virus thing. Yeah, we solved it. We created
Cured
the
it.
solution to it. We have a vaccine. We've eradicated it from the world. And then somebody's like, "Yo, let me make this something cool out of this." And then they start a new virus, which is the way this whole game starts. Is because there's another virus that has eradicated the world.
Yeah.
They just had to explain the differences between the viruses. How now you got to have the band on and 6
Yep.
minutes
I
outside of
guess.
UV light.
And I think it's so funny that it's a separate virus.
yeah.
That
Ridiculous. Not like the virus evolved. You know? No.
It's so funny that because
And it
Haran's
still makes
whole
the exact
situation
same-
totally fine.
Yeah.
It still makes the exact same volatiles.
Yep.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Weird.
I mean, plus some new ones, but
There
still.
are some new mutations, but it's all the same ones also.
The voice acting is also hilariously bad.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
It's so terrible.
Like the
Except
same person will be in accent for half a sentence and then lose it for the second half of the sentence. But what is going on?
Uh
It's
Speaking
very
of-
funny. I think
speaking
it
of the
actually enhances
dialogue.
the experience.
huh.
Yeah. So during the dialogue sections, you actually get choices. So there's like 3 different choices. You can say like, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to tell the truth. Or just like wing it. I don't know. As a team, you get to click on those, but the people that are not hosting the game don't really get to progress it. Only the person who's hosting the game, aka Caleb, who's hosting the game, will get to progress those choices. Supposedly, we as the people who are in the game don't see this. He has a timer.
Yeah,
That-
some of them are timed and they just don't tell the other people. They only tell the host.
If
Yeah.
we start discussing the situation and trying to decide what's going on, Caleb's like freaking out. He's got like 4 seconds to make a decision.
Yeah, there was one that was literally a 4-second timer.
He gets to see like a little. You get A, B, C, or D is above your head, and that gets listed next to the choice. So it's kind of
Like
cool that
voting
way. Where
we can give our input, but if all 3 of us choose one thing and Caleb decides to go the opposite direction, it goes with what Caleb chooses.
Yeah. Game's like, nah, we're going with Caleb. It's good. It's good.
Game knows what's up.
I wonder if
Yeah.
they're ever going to patch that to where we can actually see the timer. Because they've patched a
Well-
few other things, like not you being able to use your mouse buttons, your
Mhm.
side mouse buttons, or stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep. The other
Uh,
interesting thing about this game is if you play multiplayer and then you go take that character and go try to play the game again, you literally start at the very beginning.
I love when games do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Didn't
The
they
Far
address that,
Cry
though?
approach.
What's
might
have
cool
fixed
is
it now, I
Dying
don't
Light
know.
1. Dying Light 1 had full cross progression.
Yeah.
And then the second game came out, they're like, no, just the host. I'm like, why?
But we
I thought
tried it. It was too hard. We didn't want to do it again.
I thought I heard one of you guys talking about how they had mentioned something and they were trying to fix that or something.
I mean, they just have mentioned that they've had multiplayer issues and that they've been trying to fix some of the multiplayer aspects. I don't know that necessarily means they were going to do
That-
full crossplay integration.
That's what you said. Okay. that I
Yeah.
interpreted that as
I think
we were going to get the full
specifically,
progression.
I think specifically the PlayStation 5 co-op wasn't working.
Ah,
Mm.
yeah, okay, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're just gonna join
Yeah.
Caleb anyways.
I mean, yeah, you guys aren't gonna play with another group, right? So
But
No.
I
the
can
thing
go
is,
through after feeling like a god. Okay.
Right.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
It really solves the problem we all had with Dying Light 1, which is why I have 29 hours in that game, and yet our campaign only took all of 9, because we would start a mission, somebody would go play by themselves and get the grapple, and then it's like, well, I'm not playing with this person anymore. And then we just never finished it. Now we've solved that problem by making only one player the host.
I think
guess
the
Bravo on that stuff.
the upgrade trees are like really good in that game. I think everything that you unlock is actually like pretty significant, at least on a lot of the parkour stuff. And the parkour in general feels really good. I think it's a little floaty,
does.
but I think it works for what it's trying to do. Especially that jump move. That jump move's crazy fun.
yeah, jump move's a blast.
It's like a layup jump. You kind of like get up on one leg and then jump off that one leg. So it's got like a little lift before the jump. It feels very awkward when you first do it.
There's a bunch of stuff where it's like if you hop over a waist high wall, you can just like fling yourself like 30 feet in a direction just because you unlock stuff for like first of all, you like always sprint in this game, whereas in the first game you would get tired constantly all the time and have to walk for a bit and then you could sprint again. Now your
Didn't
default move
realize
speed is
that.
sprint.
There
What?
is a sprint you can unlock though.
It's
that
like
does
a,
use your stamina,
it's
but
called
you can
dart.
keep running afterwards. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It doesn't
Just
even
not
speed you up
sprinting.
that much. It just like lets you do more advanced parkour stuff.
Mm.
Like it lets
Heck
you
yeah.
jump farther. It lets you have access to a couple of the other upgrades. Like you can unlock jumping off of zombies really high during a dart, stuff like that.
Wall running.
Yeah, the wall running is not
Wall
called
running is-
wall running though. It's called tic tac.
Oh, that's
For
right.
some
Tic-tacking.
Because
Mm.
There
there's
is
a
an
move
upgrade.
called wall running, which is running vertically up the wall.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there's actually like dive spots that you can dive off of and get you land in hay. That's
Wait, wrong
so
game.
there's spots in this game where you can jump off buildings and land in trash cans because there's no broken glass, I don't know, metal, anything in those
Right.
trash
Just
cans.
cinder blocks.
Right.
Nothing.
And you know you find it's mostly mattresses. I actually put mattresses on top of it.
They
I find
do.
it's hilarious. So those will negate fall damage from any height. Also, top of cars. Just
Yeah.
the top of
Mm.
Which
cars.
we didn't know about until like a loading screen tooltip at one point. It was like you can jump on the top of cars and you're fine.
You'd think it'd be
Like,
like
oh.
you jump on a car once and you crunch it, and now you can't do
Sure.
that anymore. But no, you can just do it every time. Same car. No man.
Why not? Why not?
I've actually seen a video of the section we haven't gotten to yet. There is a very tall building, and a
I've
guy
seen-
gets on the top of that, and he jumps off and lands on a car and lives. I'm like, you would be
I mean-
so dead.
Yeah, the jump is like 10 seconds. Like he
Yeah.
falls for like 10 seconds and he lands on a car roof and he's like alive. No big deal.
Kind of like that time that Aaron and I jumped at a rope together, and Aaron missed the rope and dies. And then I
Yeah.
hit the rope, grabbed the stuff that I needed because I was like, all right, I'll go after it. Like, I don't want to come back up here again. So I grabbed all the stuff I needed. Then I jumped towards the rope, and like it was not attaching me to the rope at all. And then like I got down to a section and like finally grabbed the rope. Then I jumped off of the rope because I'm like, whatever, let's just try it. And so I jumped
Yeah.
off the rope and landed on the car and lived. I actually think I bounced off Aaron's head first before I landed on the car because like in the video it like jitters to the car, and then I got him back up.
It was nice of you. Very nice
You know,
of you.
something that does add difficulty to this game is the down but not out state is like 1 second.
It's
It's
so
like
fast.
really short. Yeah.
If you go down, you're like, hey, can somebody get me up? Everybody's like, I'm like 50 feet away from you. No way I'm making it to you and before you die. And it's true. You die so fast.
Very difficult.
There's
Very, very difficult.
I think there's a on the tree that we're building towards on the survivor side. Once you get the water tower, I think there is a slower down but not out state.
Mm.
I wonder how significantly slower it's going to be, or if it's going to be like, oh, you're 50 feet away, you can make it.
Yeah. There's this other mechanic in the game where you have to decide how to divvy up the city between the two factions that are trying to run it. And it tells you, like, if you give facilities to this side, you're going to get these types of upgrades. And if you give facilities to that side, you're going to get those types of upgrades. And we were all like, man, the survivors kind of suck. We hate like 3 of the characters and want them to die. We're not helping them. We're going with
You mean the
peacekeepers.
hipsters?
And then you get to that screen, and we're like, man, the survivors have so much better upgrades though.
They really did. Zip
Like-
lines everywhere. Zip lining up zip lines.
It's
Parachute,
so
pads.
parachute.
like
Bounce
so on
pads,
their
yeah.
side so much more. So now we're giving everything to them instead, even though they have a couple of punk characters that we hate.
The worst. Barney is the worst.
Meanwhile, the
absolutely the worst.
peacekeepers are like kind
The
of
PKs.
like chill.
They're kind of chill.
Pastor's
And, like,
kids.
You think they'd be like bossy and militaristic, but they're just like, yeah, I don't know, I got a wife and kids. We're trying to like keep the city secure.
Too
And-
bad their upgrades suck.
Meanwhile, the survivors are like, we should blow up the freaking
Yeah.
windmill
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they don't have power. And we're like, don't
So
do
the
that, guys.
Zombies swarm them.
Yeah.
It's way more violent than is necessary. Like, we're all humans trying to survive. There is a deadly disease out here. Like, whatever.
But
what it is.
we'll go blow up your windmill so you can give us cool parkour stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of like dumb traps we'll never use.
It is a cool game. I'm excited to play more of it. Definite improvements from Dying Light 1. And I think maybe as we progress into the next area and we start to actually get to our trees and see upgrades, it'll be fun to play. A lot more fun to play, too. Talk about a couple other things in game world. I wanted to bring up Dead Island 2, since we were talking about Dying Light 2. Allegedly is coming out at the end of this year.
I have to say something.
Have they said
Q4
this year?
2022. They said Q4 2022 or early 2023.
I'll
Yeah,
see this on
So
the director's
late
notes.
23, got it.
say what, Chad?
I'll see this on the director's notes. You're going
Sorry,
off script.
I forgot to put it on there. Off script. Sorry. I'm putting it on there. Don't worry.
I feel like I'm
Yeah,
going
guys.
crazy. I thought Dead Island 2 was already out.
Riptide.
I thought I already
That's
owned it.
Riptide.
Riptide, which is what, Dead Island 1.5?
Yeah,
Doesn't
yes.
count?
1.5.
Okay.
And similar to how they just called Crash 4, even though there's like 5 other Crash games in
Yeah.
between 3 and 4.
They make a joke where they meet another character and they're like, how many times have you like beaten Dr. Cortex? And they're like, 3. And he's like, really? Feels like more. I was like, oh, that's actually funny. That's funny on
Nice.
purpose. I like it.
good.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dead Island 2 has been in development for like ever, I feel like. And also it's switched developers a bunch of times. It's been
Uh-huh.
like super development hell.
Announced
Definitely means
in
it'll be good.
2014. In 2015, they closed their doors. Somebody else took the reins. And then in 2019, Dam Buster Studios took the reins. Published by Deep Silver. So their goal is they just came back and they're like, hey, we're back in the development cycle. We're looking at the end of 2022, maybe 2023. Going to ride this wave off the Dying Light 2 with definitely not a game that has a similar title, Dead Island 2. And definitely doesn't have a similar feel, killing zombies.
Techland
Totally
made Dead Island originally,
Mm-hmm.
and then split from Deep Silver and
To
made
make Dying
Dying
Light.
Light.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that root comes from.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe it might be out. Who knows? Let's talk real quick about Bloodborne.
Bloodborne now on PC. Finally.
Kind of. Get out of here. Not really.
This like sole developer made Bloodborne PSX, which is like the first few hours of Bloodborne stylized to look like a PS1 game with like PS1 controls and like cutscenes remade PS1 style, like everything. It's
a
actually
remake.
super impressive.
Yeah.
What they
Yeah,
call
remake.
this.
I think
How-
there was like a demo out like a while ago, and now it's like I guess they're done with like what they're gonna do with it.
How have they not been hit with a cease and desist?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Sony's chill with it.
I don't know. It feels.
I'm sorry.
suspicious
Say
to
that
me.
sentence
They're
again,
never-
right?
Lower, right?
I mean,
Never
Sony-
chill about
Sony.
Sony's no Nintendo. Nintendo would have
I
been
mean,
like
sure,
stopped
Nintendo would've-
immediately.
Exploded them, fucking nuked
Yeah.
them from orbit, but still, I mean, it sounds like it's basically. I mean, obviously, right? The controls and everything are very, very different. The graphics, but
Yeah.
like, it looks like it's like Father Gascoigne's in there. I've seen gameplay. I don't know. I think it's really interesting that it exists.
Yeah, it's very cool. I watched a pretty lengthy video of somebody playing a bunch of it, and I mean I've never played Bloodborne, but they were a Bloodborne veteran, and they kept on gushing about like, oh my gosh, they got this exact thing, and it's like the same, but but stylized, like this PlayStation wanted,
Yeah.
like all the gameplay mechanics and everything. Actually, and they'd say it's like a few hours long. It's like the first whole area or something.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
That is a lot of developing the same game to not get a cease and desist. That is actually kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just
Wow.
Google Bloodborne PSX and download it before it's taken down, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, this won't be that's not like the first time somebody's done. I mean, Black Mesa exists. Like,
That's
Yeah.
it's the entirety of Half-Life 2.
Black
Exit-
Mesa
or
got
Half-Life 1.
endorsed by Valve and
Yeah.
put
Yeah,
on
Valve's,
Steam and
Valve's
sold
got like
for
a weird
money.
because they also I don't know if you guys ever heard of that game, something the Freeman, capture the
Mhm.
Freeman, kill the Freeman, something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember
It was a
exactly.
fan
Yeah.
game about like people going and killing Gordon Freeman. Gordon Freeman? Am I saying this right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think you're right.
Okay. But yeah, it was like a fully made fan game about their main character from their biggest franchise. Well, maybe not anymore, but
Right.
fucking Half-Life.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just were like, yeah, no, sure, put it on Steam. Fuck it. We don't care.
Put it on Steam. We'll collect money off of it. This is great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Isn't there also a Half-Life Enhanced coming out? Half-Life 2 Enhanced?
Yeah, but
Anything
isn't
but Half-Life 3.
yeah, basically. But isn't that? I thought Valve was working on something to that effect. Maybe they were just
Really?
reworking it for the Steam
Maybe.
Deck.
Is Valve doing anything really? They promised us 2 more full-length VR games. I've said nothing
Well, I
about
mean,
that.
the Steam Deck is coming out in like a month.
Yeah,
Like,
By the
Steam
way,
Deck.
I
days.
have read some reviews recently, and people are like, this is maybe the best piece of PC technology to exist in decades. Just
About the Steam Deck?
wildly, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably
Wildly excited about
hyperbolic, but
I
it does sound really cool. I'm really excited about it.
yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how good it is.
I think the big thing is like there's a few other like handheld computers out there that are trying to emulate like what the Switch is doing, but with PC. But they're
Yeah.
all like at least double the price of the Steam Deck. They're all like well
Yeah.
above $1,000.
Mm.
So for
Yeah.
the Steam Deck to come out with the aggressive price point it's at,
I mean, they
and be, like,
literally
the
could
quality
sell it.
is.
They could sell it for like nothing, and they would be fine.
I mean, I think they're basically selling it at cost. Like, it sounds like the price point was like, people were like, that's so low.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I mean-
internally, I mean.
You got to think that this is like a really good move on them to recapture some of the people who are moving to the Switch.
I mean,
Because-
absolutely.
I mean, now rather than buying games and playing them on Switch while you're traveling, things you would normally like to play in a handheld, you're like, well, I can just own it in one place.
Yeah, I could get it
Already
all
in the
on
Steam library.
Yeah.
Yeah, you buy it at cost, but then they get their revenue through all the games that they sell on Steam.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Which, I mean, it's like the inverse of what Epic did with Epic Store after Fortnite. Like they get all their revenue from Fortnite, but they're like, well, let's just build the Epic Store. I don't know. It'd be
And
something
then
fun.
give away free games constantly just to
Yeah.
suck you guys in.
One other game I wanted to mention I thought was kind of interesting. I found out a way for you guys to save a little money when you go to buy that PS5 off of Facebook Marketplace. And that is because I know everybody here wants to play Horizon Forbidden West. So if you buy the PS4 version, which is $10 cheaper than the PS5 version, you get a free upgrade to the PS5 version.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
now,
I mean, that's actually kind of compelling.
right? Now you can just buy the PS4 version. You'll save that $10, which will definitely be the difference in cost between the MSRP of a PS5 and what you'd buy it for off Facebook Marketplace.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, just the
You
$10
buy-
markup.
Mhm.
Buy that PS5, and now you're good. Now you can play Horizon Forbidden West.
Is it-
Awesome.
I thought it was Horizon 1 Dawn.
Oh shoot!
Is that what it's called?
I'm talking about a different game. I'm sorry. You're talking about
okay.
the sequel. This is a totally different franchise.
Oh, it's
My
a
bad.
spin-off. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Riptide
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going
Yeah.
around. for
Definitely,
sure.
definitely. Let's talk about one thing in news we wanted to talk about here, which is Kevin Levine's studio.
Yeah, so this is also kind of old news.
Adam
but
Levine?
Who?
Levine. Yeah, Adam Levine's studio.
Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead,
you know,
Jake.
the lead singer of Maroon 6.
Did you say
Um,
Nice.
Kevin Levine?
I
He
said
did.
Levine. Listen,
It's
guys.
also Kevin.
Kevin Levine.
I said Kevin. I'm like, it's way down here.
Can't we just fix
Kevin
it
Levine.
in post?
Ken Levine. Levine. Ken Levine.
Do you
But,
know who that is? Do you know who we're talking about right
I
now?
have
do
no
you know who
idea
we're
right
talking
now. No
Oh
idea.
my god. He's like the auteur developer who had a big part in making Bioshock and Bioshock
Oh.
Infinite.
Okay.
What's
Yeah,
Also-
now I know
that?
exactly what you're talking about.
Thief the Dark Project, System Shock 2, and Freedom Force.
Got it.
Freedom Force. What
Yeah,
a game
I don't
to add
have
to
to
that
read
list.
what's in this article. I don't know why Bioshock doesn't make that shortlist. But I guess this was pre-irrational. Anyways, after Infinite, he was like, yep, done making like Bioshock games. I'm just gonna open my own studio called Ghost Story Games, and we're just gonna do our own thing. And that was like 8 years ago. And apparently, in case you couldn't have guessed, things are going terrible. Like it sounds like he doesn't really know how to like run a whole
A
ass
studio?
studio.
It
Yeah.
sounds like he's terrible to work for.
Yeah, like it sounds like he's like, okay, we're gonna make like this narrative game where like anything can happen, you know? All of your choices are gonna be mirrored in the cutscenes, and it's gonna be everywhere. And we have like 8 people, so let's make a AAA game. And it's like, hey, Ken, listen, buddy, Kevin, that's impossible.
Kevin
There's 8 of
Levine.
us. And he's like,
Kevin.
nope, we're gonna do it. And so like they've lost a lot of people. It sounds like they don't really have a lot of progress to show for it. Yeah, it's kind of like, again, it's not surprising to hear. It's just really disappointing because he's such a big name. And like I know a few of us have seen him talk at like PAX in the past, back before he shut himself away for like a decade.
Mm.
And he was like a really chill guy, and he seemed to have like a real good head on his shoulders when it comes to like game development type stuff, like kind of attitudes and stuff. But it sounds like he just doesn't know how to manage an entire studio, which is I'm really disappointed to hear that.
Yeah.
Mm.
He was also
He's-
supposed to be working on a TV show for a while there.
Oh yeah,
I never heard what
wasn't
happened
it?
to that.
Wasn't it like the Twilight Zone?
I think it was Twilight Zone, yeah.
Was it
Weird.
The Voice?
Yeah, it was the Masked Singer. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
okay.
him. That was him.
They have a quote in this article where he says, "I think people will be surprised but unsurprised by what they see." What a quote!
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Sure, dude. Yeah, man. The biggest surprise to me is that like, what is it, 2K that he works for? That they haven't just been like, oh, Take-Two, excuse me. Haven't just been like, hey, listen, Ken, you gotta make something.
You
I
gotta
don't
do
know.
something.
Yeah,
buddy.
like anything, dude. Like a Flash game. Like you can't just sit there doing nothing.
I feel like with Alex's quote that he just said, confusion is all the consumer's gonna get.
Yeah, right.
And so
Yeah.
like you're gonna get the game in your hands, whatever thing he creates.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even a game, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, what was this supposed to be? I don't know, man.
Meanwhile, I think Bioshock 4 is like heavily rumored to be.
Mm.
Bioshock
Coming
4?
out.
What's this numbering scheme?
Well,
You know.
infinite is like infinite possibilities of the number, so it could be 3, right?
You know, if you turn the
Also
infinite on
four.
its side and cut it length
Yeah.
it's a
Cut it
It's
three.
basically a 3. You're
So,
right.
Yeah.
you just do
That's some
four.
4D chess right there. Yeah.
Maybe Bioshock 4 is going to be before
Oh,
Bioshock
four.
Infinite.
it's a
Infinite.
prequel. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
then it's actually Bioshock 1, 2, and then 4, and then Infinite.
And then
That's
later
good.
they'll make a 3
yeah.
prequel to 4.
Just like whatever. Here's the third one.
Also, we do have Russian Bioshock coming out this year now.
Wait,
too.
what?
Oh, Atomic
Atomic
Heart?
Heart.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Atomic Heart.
Oh, I thought it was actually going to be
It's
like
coming out in Burr
Russian.
2022.
Yeah, Burr 2022.
Burr. I loved that. I thought
That's-
that was so fucking clever.
It's great.
It's like, what's your release window? Burr?
It's basically like
All
saying
the Burrs.
Q4, but without having to say Q4.
Yeah. Is it September? Is it November? Who the fuck knows? We'll figure it out when we get there. And I was like, I appreciate this.
A couple more things in here before we wrap up. I did want to mention this week a whole bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff. Rights are going on sale.
Can we pick
Let's
one up?
buy them. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
How much do we raise
New
for this?
NFTs. Let's buy the rights to shit.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently, it is an array of movie, merchandising, gaming, and live event rights. Live event rights.
Live event. Okay,
Yeah.
we doing like
Like
a
a-
Lords of the Ring play? Okay.
Maybe.
Okay,
like,
I'm
a,
in.
like a live podcast on Twitch
Maybe.
about
Maybe
Lord of the
like
Rings.
Maybe.
an official LARP.
Mhm. Mhm.
Live action
it's
role
interesting because
podcast.
I think we're gonna see. Of course, Amazon, I'm sure, is gonna scoop some of this up, but there's no way they're not.
Yeah.
Producing a how many season show? 7, 6, 7,
But it
somewhere
said
in
how
there.
many seasons?
Man,
Yeah, I don't.
feels like hubris to decide how many seasons that's going to be before it's started.
I'm sorry. Are they HBO and making a pilot to a thing that they spend $30 million on, and then they go, "Wait, this sucks," and then stop doing that?
I don't know what we're referring to. What show?
They did it for one of the Game of Thrones spinoffs. They spent $30 million on the pilot episode of the spinoff, and then they're like, "Wait, these JJ guys suck at their jobs. Why the fuck are we letting them make another one?"
I was about to say, here's the issue. For how good Game of Thrones was, the ending was so bad that everything before it is now hated.
Yeah.
And so, of course, if you try to do a spin-off series of that series, you're just not going to get met with anything good.
Right.
Yeah,
House of
really shot
Dragons is still
themselves in the
happening,
foot.
What do you say?
House of Dragons is still happening, I think.
Yeah, that one's
We'll
still
see.
happening.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
exactly.
For now. Hey, let's wrap up with a quick story, Chad. I guess
Yeah,
I'm gonna guess
so-
it's a story.
It's kind of a story. It's kind of just like a one-off comment. I got a TikTok from Alex a while ago
God.
of somebody walking their cat.
Hmm.
And so I decided that I would get some cat harnesses.
Okay.
And let me tell you what, Flynn, the guy cat, which I can actually get the harness on because Maggie will, I probably am going to have Caitlin help me try to get that one on. Just kind of flopped onto his side. It was just like, please, mercy, help. Rolled around a little bit. And we took some treats out and started giving it to him. And he crawled his way across the ground to get to him. And he just was not having it, man. We made him walk upstairs so that, he'd get a feel for the vest. He didn't walk up the stairs. He clawed his way up.
Oh my gosh.
So that's
Pets are
that's day one progress of
Hmm.
trying to get him into the outdoors with a little harness.
I don't know why animals are so dramatic when you put something on them that they're not used to. With Sven, we tried to put a Christmas sweater on him for a Christmas party. He just doesn't. He just stands there. He will not move when you put it on. I'm done. I guess I'm dying right here. I'm never moving again.
I mean, can you imagine having never worn a shirt and someday somebody just shoves a shirt on you?
Yeah.
I
It'd be
mean,
pretty-
sure. It might be a shock, but eventually I'd be like, oh, I can still move arms and legs and
Yeah.
eat and drink and, normal things.
It does
mean-
feel like you'd pretty quickly be like, can I still... Oh, yeah, for sure. I can still move my arms
Yeah.
and stuff.
You'd think.
Sure.
To be fair, I
I'm
got
just gonna
two
throw my body
versions.
across the ground.
I got two versions of the harness. One was a little bit too tight, and also the way it was designed, it went up his armpits a little bit too much. It looked like, so it kind of looked like he couldn't walk as well.
Mm.
And then the second version was it's actually adjustable. The issue with this version is instead of just having to put their legs through real quick, you actually have to put their head through a hole. And so that's really difficult with a cat.
Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
yeah, but the second version seemed like it worked a little bit better.
I'm going to need an update in 2 weeks.
2
Hmm.
weeks. Do you think
Yeah.
I'm getting him
That's our
outside
next
within 2
podcast.
weeks?
Yeah, I mean, next podcast, I'm going to need a very specific update to how well this is going.
Got it.
Maybe some video footage.
I can send some video footage.
I'm going to send some video footage right now. I'm going to tell you what. All right, good. Excellent. Great. Guys, we've reached the end of the cast. It was
Oh,
very
thank
short.
God.
We did it.
I think we could talk about Pokemon for a little bit
Just
more.
No,
I
we're
think
good.
we're good.
I think we're good.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. Bye.